I want you to just close your eyes for a minute. You're not allowed to go to sleep. But just close your eyes for a minute. And when I say the word paradise, what is the first thing that you picture? Palm trees. What did you say, Sarah? Beach. Countryside. Anybody else?
Birds of paradise.
Birds of paradise. Eternity. Put your hand, you can open your eyes now. Put your hand up if you pictured somewhere like a holiday destination. It was one of the first things I thought of, which is what you'll see in a minute. But isn't it? Paradise is a beautiful place, isn't it? And many of us envision that place that we want to escape to. We want to get away from the norm that we do every day. We want to go somewhere where we know we can be away from all that stuff, all our troubles, to be recharged, to be renewed, to rest. You know, one of the favourite parts of booking a holiday is not actually booking the holiday. It's actually drooling over all the brochures, of all the pretty pictures in it, of all the places that are so beautiful out there. I'm not on my own, I know I'm not. Who loves looking at the brochures? It's amazing, isn't it? You can see, you don't even have to travel far to see the beautiful world that God has created. And it's paradise. So many of these places are paradise. How many people here have gone back to the same place over and over again because it's become a paradise to you? Isn't it? Because it's that one place of beauty, that one place that we can't seem to let go of. But then the question of paradise is that we so want to so be there all the time that we don't want to really do the mundane stuff, or the everyday stuff. And we start, have you ever seen on Facebook, those on Facebook, where you see people putting countdown clocks on? It's so many days, so many hours, so many minutes, so many seconds until I go on holiday, or until I get married, or whatever the case may be. And then there's some of us who still do it old school, who cross it off on the calendar. This is how many days work I've got left. Who does that? We kind of wish our lives away, don't we? Because we want to get to paradise. But as we've heard, paradise isn't always the same for everybody. Sometimes paradise is eternity. Sometimes paradise is being able to spend time with friends and family. And sometimes paradise is that beautiful place. But then also paradise is something for someone who doesn't want to suffer or be in pain anymore. It's somewhere that we want to be, that we strive to go to. Sometimes it just seems like a distant memory. And this made me actually think about especially holiday destinations. It made me think about people that already live and work in those places. Do they still see it as paradise? And this made me think about when I lived in Torquay for 11 years. Thousands of people flock there in the summer to enjoy the chippies, the Sea Life Centre, the zoo, the beaches, the weather. English version of paradise, I would say. But what about us that live there? I could say from my own perspective that you don't see what they see. It becomes too familiar. And you start to not appreciate it so much. So this paradise that you're living in, that everybody else thinks is paradise, has kind of worn off a bit on you. And I think it's anywhere where you live. If If you've lived in Birmingham all these years, which many of you have, what do you still like about Birmingham? Do you still see it as a paradise that you did when you were a kid, when you went clubbing, and whatever the case may be? Or do you just see it as a place where you live? And I think we can become blinded by what paradise is. We long to be in these other places that we don't actually see what's right under our noses sometimes. It becomes too familiar. And so I think sometimes paradise can get lost. And that's what we're going to look at this morning. Paradise lost. Oh dear, paradise has disappeared. I thought that was quite clever. I was playing around this week. Oh, I can do that. And that's really the verse I want to focus on this morning, because Jesus himself is talking about paradise. In verse 43 it says, "Truly I tell you, today you will be with me in paradise." And of course this is the next thing in our Lent series that we're doing. We're doing a 7-week series on what Jesus said on the cross, the last words that he said. And so last week was, "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they were doing." And we looked at forgiveness, how to live forgiven, how to act forgiven, and how to speak forgiven. And if you missed it, please look at our website online, because you can catch up. It was really good about forgiveness. But you see, that was the starting point of where Jesus was now on the cross, suffering, in pain, not a pleasant experience at all. And so this next piece of our scripture starts to set the scene a little bit of what was happening. Because we go from the focus of last week, where Jesus was asking for God for forgiveness for the people that had hung him there, for starters, but also for those people who were ridiculing him in the crowds. And now the focus turns onto the two men either side of him. And when you read this verse, "Today you'll be with me in paradise," you think, how can Jesus even be thinking about paradise in the circumstances that he's in? Because where he was, on that hill, the place of the skull, it was known of. So it was a place of death. In that place, hanging on a cross with all his limbs tearing apart while he was hanging there. Very far from paradise. But yet, he's talking about paradise. Above his head, there was a sign that said, "This is the King of the Jews." Something that we know today. He truly was the King of the Jews. But people there in that moment had become all too familiar with what people had to say about him. They had become blinded by the truth. You see, if he really was the king that he said, surely he would have been able to get himself off that cross. If he had power, if he had authority, like a king, an earthly king. This is why people couldn't understand it. They couldn't understand this Jesus who was going around for 3 years before this moment, claiming authority and power in the name of God, but yet now here he hangs. And he doesn't do a thing about it. Not a thing. Don't we find that sometimes that we can't understand things because we try to understand them in human terms? And I think that happens in our relationships with God sometimes. We get the world and Jesus mixed up into one. There's no barrier anymore between the two. We understand Jesus like we understand the world. And this is what was happening here. It gets too familiar. We get too familiar with Jesus that we forget who he really is. You see, even though both of the criminals had hurled insults at him to begin with, one of them kind of changes their tune. One of them realizes that they got it wrong. Jesus was placed in the middle of two criminals. And you know what really stuck out for me? Throughout his whole ministry, Jesus was always in the middle of sinners. He was never apart from them. He was always amongst them. Till his very dying moment, till his very last breath, Jesus was amongst sinners. Now these guys, on either side of him, had every right to be there, had every right to die for what they were doing. And if you look a bit deeper into it, it seems that they were called rebels, which means that they actually probably knew each other and they kind of had worked together at some point to try and overthrow the government. So they would have killed people, they would have stolen, they would have done whatever they probably could have to try and overthrow the government. So they pretty much had a right to be there on the cross that day. You get one of them stopping and not saying any more insults. But then on the other side, you've got one of them that continues to throw insults. You get one of them that says, "Aren't you the Messiah? Save yourselves and us." Now it's no surprise that they were a bit edgy. They wanted to get out of the situation they were in. The pain must have been excruciating. And they probably didn't want to die. Nobody wants to die, do they? And this guy was getting desperate. He was like, if you're the Messiah, why aren't you doing anything? Why aren't you getting yourself off the cross for starters? But why not us either? If you could not bother about yourselves, then get us off. You start to think, was this guy even interested in who Jesus was? He was more interested in trying to get out of the situation that he should have been paying for. He was trying to escape, wasn't he? He thinks Jesus was his opportunity to get out of the situation, the get out clause, isn't it? And the question that came to my head is, God, why won't you help me? Sound familiar? You know, in all those problems that we face, sometimes because of our own consequences, or sometimes because of what's happening in our lives. When God isn't helping us, we're like, God, why won't you get me out of this situation? You're just going to leave me hanging here. It's a tough one, isn't it? I wonder whether sometimes we just use God in a way to try and get out of things, to not have problems anymore. But maybe I think we forget sometimes what God is trying to do in us and through us in the situations that we find ourselves in. But you see, Jesus doesn't have to say anything to this guy, because the other criminal who went silent now speaks up, and he turns around and he says to this guy, "You don't know what you're talking about. Don't you fear God?" We have a right to be hanging here. We have a right to pay for what we have done. Do we ever realise that about our own sins, our own things that are happening in our life? Do we have a right to be going through what we're going through? Do we deserve what is happening? Because sometimes we don't look that deep within ourselves. We're too busy trying to get out of the situation than actually realizing the things that are wrong in our lives and the things that need to change. That's paradise lost, isn't it? We're more focused on getting out of a situation. We lose sight of Jesus, who's trying to show us things about us or do things through us in what we're in. And the thing is, sometimes I think Jesus can be right under our noses and we miss him. Like this guy on the cross, he was too interested in getting out of the situation that he couldn't see Jesus. How do we see him? Jeremiah 29:13 says, "You will seek me and find me when you seek me with all your heart." Are we busy seeking that paradise that is always out of arm's reach, that we're always making a cross of trying to get there? Is that how we look at our salvation? We're saved so we can wait till we die because then we will have eternity and live forever. But you know what the truth of paradise really is in the scripture? Is that you've got to go a few words before that, where it says, "Truly, today, you will be with me in paradise." Today. It's not something to wait for. Salvation isn't something that's going to happen when you die, to live in eternity. When Jesus died on the cross that day, heaven came to earth to live inside of all of us. Your salvation is living here and now. That is what paradise is. Paradise is here and now. That's why it says, "Truly today you will live with me in paradise." It's not something that you have to wait for, that you have to work for, that you have to strive for. Jesus is right here, right now. That's paradise. He is paradise. And if he's living in you, he's right under your nose. You're in paradise already. I think we lose it though because we get too familiar and we get wrapped up in the mundane of every day. We lose focus. We can't see him in all the things that we're doing, in all the things that we're suffering, in all the things that we're complaining about. But he's there. Paradise. He's not something that you have to strive for, to work for. He's right there. The great thing about booking a holiday is that you can't do it with your eyes closed. You've got to choose a destination, haven't you? You've got to see it before you pay for it. And I just wonder why we're going through every day of our lives not seeing him. He's right there. But yet we miss him so much because we're so snowed under with so many other things. I love, there's a song that's called "Heaven and Earth Collided." And that's Jesus. Because we're all waiting to go to this better place. But why are we wasting our time? Why aren't we living that life right now? Because that's how we can be the light. To live paradise now. How do you seek him? In what ways do you seek him? We can't escape him. He is everywhere and in everything. Oops. We can't escape our sufferings. We can't escape the fact that we go to work every day. We can't escape the fact of whatever situation it is. But instead, ask Him. Ask Him to show Himself to you in all of those situations. What's He trying to teach you? What's He trying to show you about yourself? And some of those things aren't going to be pleasant. And those are the things sometimes we don't want to see because we've become too familiar. Jesus is no longer this holy God who died on the cross to save us and to give us eternal life. We see Him as a pal. We see Him as someone that we pray to, someone that we read the Bible, which are all good things. But are we really missing the point? Come and see the King of love. He's so much more. He's a holy God who gave up His life. And He loves us. Don't let paradise pass you by, because each and every moment is paradise with Jesus. Seek me and find me when you seek me with all your heart. In our last song, we're going to sing, "Here I Am to Worship." You know, He died so that we could live. Salvation is now. Let us live it. Let us live.